Powered by Virginia Radio.
All right, and here we are. All right, and thanks for joining me on this podcast. I am the MC, the HINC. I am the host of Let Me Say Something. My name is ALTON, BECKETT. Thank you all for joining me. Okay, I got a lot to say, and we're going to get started here. Just so you know, this podcast is going to be about basically things affecting the black community. Some of these things you're going to like, some of you're not going to like. I'm going to be pushing the envelope an awful lot here, okay? Challenging some of the things that you guys have heard as children, challenging some of the things that you guys believe as men and women, okay? That's what we're going to do. All righty? You may not like me, but I'm going to try to make you love me and keep coming to this channel, okay? All right, let's get started. We're going to start with something that everybody can relate to, which is, well, Joe Biden. Okay, Joe Biden has let us down, folks. Y'all voted for him. Why? I don't know. But y'all voted for Mr. Biden, and that old man has done nothing for us. Okay, and I know you're saying, well, Alton, that's not true. He's and you can't say it. You can't say a damn thing that he's done. You can't say it. I dare you to tell me something that he's done that's positive, particularly for black people. And don't say that he chose a Supreme Court justice, because what he did was he cheapened the justice by saying, instead of saying I'm going to find the most qualified person, you know what he said? He said I'm going to choose a black woman, and that's going to scar her as long as she's in the Supreme Court. Everybody's going to be watching to see what she says, what she does, her rulings. You know, he did her a disservice by saying that. Instead of just saying, I'm going to pick the most qualified person and then picking her. And don't get me wrong, she's qualified. Okay? She's a good judge. She has a good legal mind, but that man cheapened her. But let me move on, though. Okay? And I know you're saying, well, Al, how has Biden failed us? Because he was better than the guy with the orange hair, blah blah blah. Yeah, the guy with the orange hair that created peace in the Middle East. He's better than that guy. Whatever. Let me get started. Okay, first of all, this is the man that when he campaigned, he said, and I quote, I will end systemic racism by the end of my term. Now, I don't know how he's going to do that. I don't know how you end systemic racism in one term when it couldn't have been done in decades, eons. You know, so I have no idea how he's going to do. But that's what he said. And guess what? You guys, black people, believed him. You believed him. I have no idea why you believed him. Okay, he cannot end systemic racism. Let me explain. Okay, his crime bill in 1992 was a crime bill that targeted me as a predator, as an apex predator. He targeted me and got people that look just like me as predators. It was an unprecedented crime bill, and which led to the three strike law, which was dismal. And I don't even know how that came up. I don't even know how it was actually constitutional. But this is the same guy, and he is still saying, he's still catering to the black community because, well, the midterms are coming and they want to win the midterms. It looks like you're not going to win them. So they will say anything, him, Pelosi, Chucky Schumer, they'll say anything to stay in office. Okay, so when I ask you guys, tell me something positive that this man has done, I get crickets. I talk to the black people. I talk to my community all the time, black people all the time. And you know what you guys say? Well, he's better than the other guy. How is he better than the other guy? Tell me how he's better than the other guy. I want to know. Okay? I really want to know. Because, then you say, well, at least we had Barack Obama. Yeah, you're right. We had, Barack. I voted for the guy. For 4 years, he didn't do anything. Voted for him again. Another 4 years, he didn't do anything. And we had a black man. We had a black man that did, and we had kind of half a black man that didn't do anything for black people. Nothing. Nothing. And you know what he said? You know his reason was? He said, "Well, I don't want to make it look like I'm favoring one side over another side." You know, Barack. The pendulum has gone so far to one side for us that no matter what you've done, you cannot bring the pendulum back where it's equal. You can't do it. Okay, so anything you would have done would have been helpful. Okay, he didn't even help the HBCUs, but guess what? The other guy did. Okay, the guy with the orange hair, he did. So when you guys keep telling me about about how great it is to have Biden in office, keep in mind he hasn't fulfilled his promises. Okay, I'm going to bring up something else with you guys. Okay. The border crisis. Remember when he was running and they said, and he and Pelosi and everyone said, the Democrats said, there is no border crisis. There is no border crisis. Trump is separating children, and he's making them, he's starving them. I mean, they said all kinds of horrible things. None of it was true, with the exception of there was a border crisis. Now I'm gonna give you a little background by myself. I lived in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, for 20 years, and I can guarantee you that there is a border crisis because they were coming across the Rio Grande like roaches, and we couldn't stop them. We could not stop them. The border patrol, they were underfunded. They didn't have enough. They were underfunded, underhanded. Not underhanded, but they didn't have enough people to guard the border, and it didn't make any difference. And what was happening is that in New Mexico, along the Rio Grande, the people were Mexican citizens that were crossing to the U.S. They were buying property along the Rio Grande and giving the illegals an asylum. And then from there, I mean, they went. It was like a, and from there they went to another location. I mean, it is a true underground railroad. So for them to say it's not a crisis is just a total lie. I was there and I saw it. So, and on top of that, with the border, Biden has cut funding. To the Border Patrol. And remember when they had this situation where the Border Patrol was on horses beating people? They were not doing that. They were actually tapping the horses, because the people were running, the way the people were running, they were scurrying, and they were frightening the horses, and they were trying to calm the horses down. And they didn't want the people to get trampled, so they would have the I don't know what you call it. I'm not a horse rider, but they had this strap or the strap, what it was, tapping the horses to get the horses out the way. Okay. The Democrats said, well, geez, look at them. They're beating the people. There was no evidence of that. That never happened. The media didn't follow up on it to make sure that it didn't happen. Shame on you, media. And I'm going to get to y'all shortly. Don't you worry about that. Okay. So basically with the border crisis, there is a border crisis. We're letting people into our borders that aren't being vetted. They're not being vaccinated. And they come across the border, they're not vaccinated, and then they go to these, and they're sending them to different cities. And these people are not vaccinated, they're not vetted. We don't know if we're getting criminals. We don't know if we don't know who these people are at all. We just don't know. And one thing that the previous administration did say, listen, you can come across the border, but we got to find out who you are. You got to get vetted first. We don't know who you are. We don't know you. That made sense to me. That made total sense to me. Okay, there's no other country in the world that you can cross your border without them knowing who the heck you are. It can't be done. I mean, you might be able to go to Canada. You might crawl through the woods or something like that to get to Canada. You might do it that way. But if you go to the checkpoint at Canada, who are you? I mean, they check you out. So it's ridiculous when I keep hearing about this border crisis that's actually not a border crisis, as they say. Just one lie after a freaking other. It's embarrassing. It is truly and totally embarrassing. And why the media does not pick up on this is beyond me. Remember Kamala? And Kamala, I'm going to call you out. And I know, listen, I know we're alumni. Okay, we both from Howard University. I get it. Both graduates. I get it. Okay, but Kamala, you've avoided the border crisis for too long now. Why? I have no idea. That was supposed to be your thing. You're in charge of it, and you're still in charge of it. But you're doing nothing about it. You're ignoring it. Okay, and they're sending you all around the world. You know why? Well, probably because of your incompetence. And once again, I'm trying not to go to the side here, but it's just too apparent. It's obvious that she is out of her element. It's obvious that the job is too big for her. It's obvious that she has not risen to the occasion, and it's also obvious that she never will. And I hate to say that, like I said, she's an alumni, okay, and I wish her well, but she's in the wrong position. We're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and I see why Joe put her there, because there are a lot of better black female applicants than her for that position in Congress. But those ladies, a lot of those black women, they were independent thinkers. They were kind of in your face ladies. They took no mess. Biden cannot handle that. Biden wants someone to stay out of his way. Biden doesn't want to be challenged. So who's the best person to do that than Kamala, who just got there, and she was a freshman senator, just got there, and then all of a sudden now she's VP. And let's not forget that she's the same one that during the campaign, when she was campaigning to become, God forbid, president, she called Biden a racist. And remember what she said? She said she whole story about her being a little girl, having to be bused this way, and then she told a story about a little girl, and then she looked at Biden, and I was that little girl. And she did it twice, called him a racist twice. And now she's grinning in the man's face. I've just lost all respect for her. And I know black women everywhere, y'all want to turn around and say, that's not right, she's this, she's that. And if you do say that, you're just saying it because she's a black female. Because there's no credentials she can hang her hat on. You cannot sit here and tell me that she is right for the job and she's the best candidate for the job, and Joe did a great job picking her. Well, she hasn't done a great job doing anything. She keeps laughing and chuckling all the time, cackling like a doggone hen. Okay, she has a backbone made out of jelly, and trust me when I tell you, it pains me to say this. It truly pains me to say this. Okay, but it's true. Now let's get back to Biden. Y'all remember Afghanistan, right? Well, guess what? Afghanistan was a total clusterfuck. Afghanistan was a total clusterfuck. Truly. I don't know where that intelligence came from. I don't know who told Biden that it will be fine. Biden got on TV and said we're going to be out of Afghanistan in a few weeks, etc., and everything's going to be fine. The Afghanistan army, they're ready to take over for themselves, etc. Man, who gave him this information? How did he run with this information, and then all of a sudden everything just went to hell? How did he not know this was going to happen? This man left our equipment in Afghanistan. He left our people in Afghanistan unprotected. You remember the scene where the plane, where the 747 is trying to take off, people are holding on to it, and they're falling, some of them from great heights, because they're trying to get out of Afghanistan so they won't get killed. Instead, they fall from the plane. I've never seen anything like it. And then what does Biden say? It couldn't be helped. It could not have been avoided. And the media gives him a pass on this. Remember in Afghanistan when they turned around and they said got this information, and they blew up this car that had 7 people in it. Well, the car had, I believe it was two adults, and it had 5 children in the car, and they blew it up. And what did they say? Oh, well, we had wrong intel. We thought they were terrorists. How did you think that? Again, he gets a pass. Now I'm going to ask you this question. If that had been the Trump administration, what do you think would happen? I'll give you a minute to ponder that. It would have been pandemonium. We need to impeach him. Oh my God, he's crazy, etc. Oh my gracious, he's just that and the other. But when Jim Crow Joe does it, it's fine. Jim Crow Joe makes a mistake as, oh, well, it's just bad intel. You know, it couldn't have been helped. We did our best. Unfreaking believable. You know, and people, I want to believe that you aren't that gullible. I really want to believe that you're not that gullible. I really want to believe it. But as I walk around the community and talk to people, etc., it's hard for me not to believe it. Because people, particularly black people, keep making excuses. At least the other guy's not in charge. At least the other guy's not doing it. At least the other guy. Listen, all I'm saying is we need to be independent thinkers. We need to pay attention to what's going on because it's our future. It really is our future. And that's what we're not doing. You know, Afghanistan was a mess. Nobody seemed to give a crap about it. And now no one's referred to it since then. Okay. It was just kind of oopsie. Oh, well. And that is something that is unconscionable to me. I just can't abide by that. I really can't. So I don't understand why you would want to follow a man like this. You know, he people died and he didn't really know what's going on. He really didn't. It's hard for me to even talk about it. You know, I talked to a couple of people that had people in Afghanistan. They weren't killed, but they were worried about them. You know, and you would think that we would have done a better job getting our people out. We would have done a better job trying to with our intel because it was important. It was very, very important, and we did not do it. And for that, in my case, I just find that unforgivable. You know, the next thing is that with Biden, he stopped. He's pushing green energy. He's pushing solar energy, etc., which is not a problem. But with the previous administration, what they wanted to do was they say America needs to be independent when it comes to energy. And he started, the previous administration started a pipeline, and the pipeline was going to give us. We have a huge reserve of oil, by the way, okay, which the pipeline was going to tap into. We have a huge reserve of oil, and that was going to make us much more independent and self-reliant when it came to energy. We wouldn't have to rely on Iraq, etc. When Joe Biden, your president, not mine, got in office, what he did was he stopped the pipeline. He just stopped it. He caused contractors to lose their jobs. He caused a lot of people to lose their jobs. A lot of people lost money, which they would not be compensated for. Okay? And then Biden turned around, and guess what? Where did he get oil from? Putin. I'll say it again. He turned off and shut down the pipeline of our oil reserves, which would have made us more independent. And he shut it down because the previous administration was the one that started it. And then he signed a contract with Putin in Russia to use some of their oil. Of all the goddamn, I don't curse, y'all, but that just you got to explain that one to me. People are walking around like zombies, like they don't know this stuff. No, well, I didn't know. Well, at least Trump's not. Shut the hell up and sit your ass down. Because you're ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about. You just don't know what the hell you're talking about. And now all of a sudden with Ukraine, he decides, not right away. With Ukraine, he going to war, Russia going to war with Ukraine. He said, well, we'll see what happens, etc. He did not stop us buying oil from Russia in the very beginning. He hemmed and hawed about it, etc., and so forth and so forth. And then all of a sudden he gets on and makes a speech, and we're going to stop buying oil from Russia. Okay. Joe, we never should have gotten oil from Russia in the first fucking place. You fucking idiot. Okay? How about that? How about we get our own oil, restart the freaking pipeline, we have millions of gallons in reserve, and send it down to the people that need it here in the United States? Why don't we do that, Joe? Well, you know why? Because it's a bad narrative. It's a bad narrative. Everything that Trump did was not bad. Everything Trump did was not good. But everything he did was not bad. But you listen to the Democrats talk about it. You listen to other people talk about it. As I walk around the black community, all I'm hearing is how bad this guy Trump is. The same Trump that was invited to parties from Snoop Dogg and the rest of them. The same one that went to the same rapper that went to his parties in New York City. And when he went to L.A., he went to all the parties. Man, you got pictures of him everywhere. Well, almost every rapper alive. Well, the older ones anyway. The old school ones. You know, and now all of a sudden, that motherfucker, man, please. You're just saying stuff because you want people to buy your record. You're just saying stuff just to be on the safe side, etc. But you were partying with the guy, man. Snoop, especially you, Snoop. You were partying with the guy, man. Okay? And one thing I'll say about Donald J. Trump is, wherever he goes, he's Donald J. Trump, man. That guy went to your party, had a suit and a tie on, man. He looked so out of place, but he had a suit and a tie on, and he was there at the party because you invited him. You know? You came to his parties, he invited you. Now all of a sudden there's a problem. Okay? Unbelievable, man. You know, as hypocrites, that would be you. Okay, it's embarrassing because you're embarrassing yourselves. Okay, when I walk around the black community and I'm listening to the ignorance of the black community, thinking that the Democrats are going to solve the problem. Mind you, the Republicans back in the day of Lincoln and so forth, they were the ones that actually freed the slaves. Okay, let me tell you who. And we had Reconstruction period where they freed the slaves. We had Reconstruction, man. Black people were going to office, becoming congressmen and senators. It lasted about 36 years, and guess who stopped it? Democrats. I think they were called Whigs back then. But the Democrats stopped it. The Republicans fought like hell for that not to happen. They fought like hell for it not to happen. But the Southern Democrats came in and they said no. And then we got this President Andrew Jackson. Shut it all down, man. He shut it all down. He and the Southern Democrats shut it all down. Now, how this whole misnomer of the Democrats being for black people and the Republicans being for the rich, I have no idea how that happened. But it's a bunch of bull. Okay? I will challenge any black person to tell me what the Democrats have done in the last 30 years for black people. I'll challenge you to do that. Okay? And I go through this every day. They say, hey, Alton, you're a Republican? Yeah, so? Fuck you, man. Well, fuck you too. I ain't scared. You know, you can beat the crap out of me. If I get mopped, I get mopped, man. But if I'm not dead, I'm going to wake up. I'm still a Republican. I'm still voting that way until something changes. Okay? And you know, I have family members that want to fight me for that. I have family members that won't even talk to me. And they're black, just like me. You know, I can't believe you. Oh my God. Well, tell me why I shouldn't believe. Tell me why I shouldn't vote that way. Well, you know why. No, I want you to tell me. Tell me why. Well, because the Republicans. They got nothing. They got nothing except what they see on TV. They got nothing except what somebody next to them told them, what their friends say, etc. Okay? And let me make this clear to all my friends that are listening. I don't give a flying crackerjack what y'all think about me. I don't give a flying flip if you don't like my politics and all. Okay? I am my own man. Okay? And frankly, y'all can kiss my ass. I'm just telling you. And if you want me to say it to your face, I'm not hard to find. Alrighty? And I'm not trying to be belligerent. I'm not trying to be belligerent. But you see, Democrats feel, this is what Democrats know, that black people vote in a voting block. 95% of all black people vote Democratic. 90% of them don't know why the hell they're doing it. Mom did it before that, etc. They don't know why they're doing it, but they vote in a block. No other culture votes in a block like that. Asians don't do it. You know, Spanish people don't do it. The indigenous Americans don't do it. White people definitely don't do it. Black people are the only ones that vote in a voting block and want to kick your ass if you want to vote a different way. And I tell them all the time, listen, I am willing to listen to reason. I am willing to vote. Tell me why I should vote for that guy. He's Democratic. And that's what we do. Okay, tell me who's we. Oh, well, that's you are the we. You know, you black. I had a woman tell me, God, you don't know that and you black? I said, ma'am, I deal in facts. I don't deal in your opinion or your emotion. Okay, that's why I don't vote with emotion. I really don't. I really truly don't. Okay, and she's voting with her emotion because you know, listen, you gonna sit there and listen to the media? The media? Okay. Word to your mother, there's no more Walter Cronkite anymore. Okay. Back in the day, before you were born, most of y'all, there was this is Walter Cronkite with the news. And that guy, man, he told it like it was. You know, there was Roger Mudd, there was Chet Huntley and Brinkley. You know, these were old guys, had gray hair and all that kind of stuff. Those guys couldn't work today. Why? Because they're old, chubby, gray hair. Had bumps on their face, all that kind of stuff, all kinds of imperfections, man. They were not handsome dudes. Now you got to be pretty and have a really nice voice to be on the news. Hi. My name is ALTON, and I'm going to give you the 6 o'clock news. And everybody, ooh, look at him. Nobody's listening to what this guy is saying. Or if you're blonde with blue eyes and a pretty face and, you know, nice little tiny waist. That's how you get on the news now. Nobody listens to what you have to say anymore. So you can say all kinds of crap and people listen to you because you have a forum. Well, I got a forum now too. And I'm going to use it. Let me tell you. And y'all going to be mad. You know, and this is the first broadcast, but we're going to keep broadcasting. Okay, I'm not going nowhere. Okay, we're going to keep broadcasting. We're going to see what's going to happen, etc. And I'm going to stand by my guns. Now, don't get me wrong. My opinions are not in concrete. If you can show me that where I've gone wrong or I'm going off the rails, then that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, I don't deal in emotion. You know, used to drive my wife crazy when I was married. You know, she said, you know, why are you always so calm? I said, what kind of question is that? I just don't deal with a lot of emotion because I'll tell you this. I'll talk to one of my kids, and I told him, I said, and my wife too at one point. And what I told her, she goes, "You never seem to get upset or get angry, etc." I said, "You know something? I used to all the time, man. I used to have a hair trigger temper. You say something to me, I'm coming across the table, whap, okay." But then I realized I have never ever gotten angry, lost my temper, and solved the problem. It's never happened. It's never happened. So I decided right then to start getting emotion out of my equation. When I had to make a decision, I tried to make it without emotion. It didn't start, and it took a long time to get there. Don't get me wrong. It didn't happen overnight. I didn't say it's Saturday and woke up Sunday and I was doing it, but it took a while. So when I look at my politics, I take my time. I study this, study that, etc. I watch what's going on. When I watch the news, are they telling it straight? Are they biased? Are they leaving out stuff? Okay. And one of the things that happened with the previous administration was, and one of the reason why he got in such trouble was, Trump actually called out the media. He said they were biased. He was right, but the media got upset because they don't want to think of themselves as biased. We aren't biased. We tell it like it is. We tell it straight down the middle. Well, if the middle meets your narrative, then you do. But you don't tell it straight down the middle. A case in point. Joe Biden's son was with a company in the Ukraine where he was making somewhere around $80,000 a month. Now remember, he can't speak the language. I know we see him on TV all the time speaking English, but most of them can't speak English. He couldn't speak the language. He wasn't a Ukrainian citizen. He had no qualification to be on the board. So how is a man like that making $80,000? How can a man like that make $80,000 a month and you not do that, and you got the same qualification that he has? None. Zippo. Nothing. Oh, wait. But your father wasn't the vice president of the United States at the time. Your father, the big guy, wasn't the vice president of the United States at the time that it happened. Now, Trump tried to call this guy out on that while doing the campaign. And Biden said, no, that didn't happen. And Trump asked the same question I asked. The guy's never been in Ukraine. This is a big company. Why would they have him on the board, mind you? The board. Hunter Biden, the man in charge of nothing, was on the board of a major company in that Ukraine. And then when he started to investigate the company and investigate him, well, guess what? Biden turned around as vice president and told the Ukrainian president that if you don't stop the investigation, I'm going to withhold multi-millions of dollars from you unless you do that. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know, that's called treason. That's called treason. And of course, the media, they saw it, but they did not push it. They let it go because they wanted Biden to win the election. Well, not so much they wanted Biden to win. They wanted Trump to lose. A lot of people voted so that not so much they supported Biden, they just didn't like Trump. Once again, emotion. It's I don't understand it, but it happens all the time, I guess. And now with our energy dependence, well, guess what? Now gas is going up, inflation is going up. I just paid almost $4 for a gallon of gas yesterday. $4 for a gallon of milk yesterday. A gallon of milk cost me almost $4. I went to Food Lion. And that's it. Now, it used to be like I used to pay like, $2.39, something like that for it. I paid almost $4 for a gallon of milk. And your president gets on the TV a week or so ago and says, just be patient. Screw your patience, man. How can you tell me to be patient? Now, I'm pretty fortunate, whatever price go up, whatever, I can afford it. But there are other people that are straining, trying to do the X, Y, and they can't. Be patient. And just for you guys to understand, the inflation will get worse before it gets better. And inflation will not go down this year. It probably will not go down next year. And then after next year, it's going to go into a recession. And that's how it works. Okay. Just so you know, if you don't know your economics, that's how it works. Inflation, recession. That's how it works. And that's what they're not telling you. You heard it here first on this podcast. Okay? You heard it here first. I don't sometimes sometimes it's better to keep the devil that you know instead of one that you don't know. And y'all know that crime's gone up, right? Significantly. Crime has gone up significantly. In a lot of the states where they have Democratic mayors, Baltimore, Seattle, Portland, okay, crime is through the roof. And those are the places that are trying to defund the police. And there may be, I've never heard of anything so stupid. Okay? The police are the blue line in the sand that separates us from the criminals. Okay? You cannot let criminals run amok. Just can't do it. But that's what's happening. Crime has gone up through the roof. Even in New York City, where they have a mayor who's a former police chief. Although I think he's more interested in dressing good and looking good as opposed to running the city, but that's just me. I'm not in New York anymore. Spent some time there too, living in Queens. Okay, South Ozone Park, what's up? Okay, and crime is going through the roof, and I think what is it? I can't remember what they said. They were talking about guns, something about a ghost gun or something like that. Ghost guns. Okay, that's the problem. Ghost guns. We got to get the ghost guns off the. All right. If I understand this correctly, ghost guns are guns that criminals get that have no identification, that type of thing. Everything is there are no serial numbers, anything like that. Those are the ghost guns. Okay, let me explain. Okay, ghost guns are not the problem. Ghost guns are not the problem. Now, there is a problem when the criminals have guns. That's true, but ghost guns are not the problem. Okay, when you have you've gutted the police force where they're begging for people to become police. You treated the police so bad that now nobody wants to become a police officer. Why? Because you treated them so badly. You try to defund them. You said you call them murderers, etc. And don't get me wrong. We got bad police officers like we got bad everything else. There's no profession where you don't have somebody bad in it. And to the people that have been murdered by police officers and killed, it's a terrible thing. It's tragic. It's tragic. Now, in my own family, I have three people on the job. In my family, I have 2 deputy sheriffs and a detective in my family. So I have a slightly different perspective about crime than maybe some other people do. Because I want my family to come home every day. I really do. And if we come down to them or the other guy, I want my family to come home. So I understand it a lot better than you might think I do. But defunding the police is not the issue. I don't even know. And Biden campaigned on that. And then in his address to the nation, he said that's not the way. But you campaigned on it. That's how you got into office. You campaigned on that. You know, it doesn't. It makes you question how many lies can be told. How many lies can actually be told before you get questioned about your integrity? No one's questioning this man about his integrity. He's just a nice old grandpa, and he can barely walk. You ever seen this guy walk across the lawn? He can barely teeter-tottering. He can barely walk across the lawn. He's talking, and then he starts to forget. And don't get me wrong, I'm an old guy too. I get it. But no one's questioning this man. No one's challenging this man. No one's, whatever happened to the fact checkers? Remember the fact checkers? Do you remember the fact checkers? Whatever happened to them? By them being non-existent, at least I haven't seen any, what you're telling me is that everything that's being said by this administration rings true. To the point where we don't have to check the facts. We know he's telling the truth. We know they're telling the truth. Well, you know better than I do, because I'm not going to accept it. I'm just not going to accept that. With the inflation rising, it's going to get really really bad. It's going to get really, really, really bad. And I don't know how we stop it. I really don't know how that gets stopped. They say that one of the best ways to get rid of inflation is to start a war. Oh, did I say something wrong? Ooh. Oh, wait, we're not at war yet. Right? I'm not so sure we're not. Okay, we're doing everything but putting boots on the ground. Okay, we have now, and we haven't flown over any airspace yet. But by Russia being pushed around a little bit by Ukraine, which I don't think they're being pushed around, I think they're being strategic. I think people are getting the idea that Russia's weaker than we thought. They're not as strong as we thought. We can take them. Yeah, I remember thinking that too when I was in school. I can take them. Got my ass kicked. Okay? Be careful with that. Because we're not at war yet, but at some point we will be. Because we're doing everything that we can. Everything that we're doing is as if we're performing and behaving as a country at war. One of the problems I have with the sanctions that they're putting on Russia, not that they're not necessary, but one of the problems that I have, and that's one thing that I think he's doing properly, but one of the things that bothers me about the sanctions is that they keep talking about Putin. Well, it affects everyone in the country. The sanctions affect everyone in the country. Instead of now they're going after the billionaires that are in Russia and the multi-millionaires in Russia. But that wasn't what they were doing at first. But they're doing it now, and it's going to end up hurting a lot of people in Russia. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the Russians themselves to turn on Putin and get Putin out of office. That's not going to happen. The man's been around too long. He's too strong. He's smarter than what you give him credit for. But as far as getting him out of office, that's something that we cannot and should not pursue, because we can't win that. And if we go to war with Russia, well, guess what? Russia teams up with, who? China. And we cannot beat Russia and China combined. We just can't do it. Everybody's talking that big talk, but keep in mind, China owns a good part of the United States. We sold a good part of the United States to China. China is part of some of the largest corporations in the United States. We would be total idiots to get into a war with Russia and China. It'll be totally, it'll be idiocracy, because we can't win that, because they wouldn't have to fire a shot. They wouldn't have to fire a shot. Okay? They know our infrastructure. They know how we work. They study us. They can shut us down without shooting a shot. No bullets are needed. No boots on the ground are needed. And how we let ourselves get that vulnerable? Well, greed. We got greedy. You know, I'm here in Virginia, and even the Smithfield plant is owned by Japan or somebody. I can't remember what it is, but it's not even owned by. It's not even U.S. owned. That's amazing to me. That is amazing to me. And how we let this go on, I'm not sure. What we do about it, I'm not quite sure. I wish I had all the answers. I really wish I had all the answers, but I don't. I have more questions than answers. And what I can't figure out is why you all will keep voting to put these type of people in office, to keep making these type of decisions. It's ludicrous. And we have to be better. We have to be better. We have to be smarter as black people. Don't vote as a voting bloc. Remember what one of the dumbest things that I saw was, there was this show. What's this guy's name? He calls himself a god. Charlemagne the God. You know, I mean, he's pretty much an idiot to me, but he calls himself a god. And he had Joe Biden on. And Joe Biden said, and I quote, "If you vote for Trump, then you ain't black." That's what he said. I don't know how much more that needs to tell you than that. And Charlemagne the God, I'm just calling him Charlemagne because he's not no damn God. Okay? Charlemagne, he agreed with it. And that little stupid girl, what's her name? Angela Yee. And she agreed with it. But she doesn't count, because her opinion means nothing. I don't think she's ever read a book. Okay, I can't even, their show is unwatchable. Their show to me is unwatchable. I can't even watch their show. It's unwatchable. It's just totally unwatchable. We have to do better. We have to make better decisions. We have to get more informed. We have to raise our game, black people, because we're doing a very bad job of disseminating information. Okay, educating ourselves. We're doing a very bad job of it. You know, we've been at the bottom so long that now we're kind of used to being at the bottom, and that's a bad thing. I know this has been kind of a downer for some of you, and I do apologize about that. But hey, listen, it's my show. Okay, it's my show. Let me say something. You know, and I'm going to go ahead and thank y'all for signing in. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for giving me the chance to let me say something. Okay, my name is ALTON BECKETT. I'm the HNIC of this podcast. And listen, I'm going to talk to y'all later. Okay, thank you so very, very much. Love y'all.
Powered by Virginia Radio.